Greetings everyone. Today I'm going to take a bit of a break from the norm, i.e. the reviews and random BS, and talk about YouTube. Specifically, an issue that I've noticed in recent months with YouTube that, sadly, there seems to be no sign of it going away anytime soon. So I'm going to talk about the issue, bitch and moan a bit about the fact that YouTube hasn't even acknowledged this issue, let alone given us any indication that they're going to fix it or any ideas as to how we can avoid it happening. And then I'm also going to tell you how I found I was able to get around this problem. What am I talking about? The aspect ratio of YouTube encoded videos. It's all messed up. And that's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. It's warm in here. I'm going to turn on the fan. That's better. So what am I talking about with this whole aspect ratio thing? Well, of course, you know that I've been doing my videos in 16:9 widescreen for quite a while. And it's been well known for a very long time that YouTube does not like 16:9, proper 16:9 anamorphic widescreen, which is how I film and edit all my videos. So when I upload them to YouTube, I actually convert them to 4:3 letterbox. So it still preserves the aspect ratio, but stamps the black bars into the 4:3 full screen image so that it appears correctly, so it doesn't appear stretched or squeezed or anything like that. So that's all fine and dandy. And apparently, a few months back, they introduced some kind of new feature to the encoding that actually does allow for certain formats of video to use 16:9 anamorphic widescreen. How do I know this? Well, I've seen a few that use it. I don't know how they do it. I really wish I'd know. Which actually gets to one of the issues, which I'll get to in a moment. Okay, so they introduced something in the encoder that looks at the content of a video and presumably decides whether or not it needs to be squeezed or not. Because, of course, if you know anything about 16:9 anamorphic, the way it works is it actually uses the full 4:3 frame for the resolution of the image. So if you were to look at an unprocessed 16:9 anamorphic widescreen frame, it would appear that everything was stretched. Everything would look skinnier than it should. So what happens when you play this back through your video player or your DVD player or what have you? Most DVDs, like widescreen DVDs, are encoded in 16:9 anamorphic these days. The player will actually digitally compress the image back down to the correct aspect ratio. So if you're watching it on a widescreen TV, it will fill the screen and nothing will be distorted. If you're watching it on an old 4:3 TV, it will have the black bars, much like you're seeing here on YouTube. So you're not missing any picture information in these cases. You're getting the correct image with all the picture information. It's just displayed differently based on what kind of TV you're watching it on or what kind of monitor you're watching it on. So the advantage of using 16:9 anamorphic is that it uses the full available resolution of the frame for the image area. So when it compresses it down, it takes that full frame resolution and squeezes it down. The result is you get much crisper, cleaner, sharper images than if you did it the other way, which would be to put your widescreen image in the middle of a 4:3 frame and put black bars on the top and bottom. Now, of course, when you do that, it looks fine in terms of the aspect ratio. You've got all the image area present, but you're wasting several pixels of quite a number of pixels of resolution in the image to generate the black bars in the image. So it's always better to use 16:9 anamorphic. Now here's the thing, when I upload my videos to YouTube, I actually do convert them from 16:9 anamorphic to 4:3 letterbox. The reason being, I have yet to find an encoding method, even though this feature is apparently available, that will allow me to use the original anamorphic video and have it convert properly by YouTube's encoding software. So, if anybody out there knows, please tell me, because I'd love to be able to do proper anamorphic YouTube videos, if indeed it is available. Now, here's the problem. YouTube introduces these features, but doesn't tell anybody. And not only do they not tell anybody, they leave us to discover them on our own. Clever users who like to experiment a lot with different video formats tend to discover them and tell the world. So if you poke around, you can usually find the information on YouTube from other YouTube users. But not only do they not tell you, they don't tell you how to do it. They don't tell you what codecs to use. They don't tell you what video format to use. There are absolutely zero tutorials on YouTube about encoding, converting, aspect ratio, anything. The only tutorial that's there that's of any use whatsoever is how to upload videos, which, if you can click the upload button, is pretty damn obvious to anybody with an IQ of 7. Because it takes you through the whole process, step by step. We don't need a tutorial for that. We need proper, clear, easy to follow, step-by-step tutorials that will tell us how to use all these awesome new features. Case in point, when YouTube introduced the high-quality playback feature. This is one of the reasons I'm doing this video. People ask me all the time, how do you get the high-quality playback feature? Well, there's a few ways. You can use a few different formats, a few different ways of encoding, but nobody, YouTube had this big thing on their blog. If you go down to the very bottom of pretty much every page on YouTube, there's a link that says blog. That's the official YouTube blog. And you go there and you can get information about, well, it used to have useful information. Nowadays it just seems to feature random things and talks about politics a lot. But I don't know, whatever. The blog would be the perfect place to talk about these new features. Because, I don't know, I go to a blog on a site like this and I expect it to be full of useful information that I, as a user of the site, can use. But it essentially has taken the form of just another blog, and it's essentially useless. And that's really unfortunate. I think they need, like, I don't know, a tech blog or something that would explain stuff to the users, so that other users don't have to step in and explain what should have been explained by YouTube in the first place. It's really a huge, huge oversight on their part. Okay, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. That's sort of all the opinion and background information out of the way. YouTube, make some tutorials or make a tech blog or all of the above. We really, really need it. There's users out there who I'm sure would love to utilize all these fantastic new features you've been introducing, but we don't know how to use them. There's no information available. Okay, I'll stop now. Okay, so what is the problem? Well, as near as I can figure, around the time that YouTube secretly introduced this 16:9 compatibility, and people started using it, there's a problem. The way, as near as I can figure, the way it works is the encoding software looks at the content of the video and then determines whether or not it's a 16:9 video. And based on that determination, then decides how much, if at all, it needs to be squeezed to correct the aspect ratio. Now here's the problem. With certain formats of video, it's squeezing the image when it doesn't need to be squeezed. So as a result, you get full screen videos that should look like this, but instead look like this. How is this correct? You see that dead space at the top and bottom? That's not supposed to be there. This image is supposed to look like this. Normal. Full screen, filling the screen. Pretty simple. But it doesn't stop there. There are those of us, of course, like myself, who like to film everything in widescreen because it, gives it a nice cinematic look and kind of makes our videos future-proof in that they will be able to be displayed properly on widescreen televisions and monitors years and years down the road. So you end up with widescreen videos that should look like this, but instead look like this. Now, I'm not a particularly skinny guy to begin with. I don't need this kind of thing making me look 20 pounds heavier than I am, thank you very much. So, the issue, as near as I can figure, seems to be with YouTube's new 16:9 squeezing software. It doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work. And here's the really big way that the really big way in which it doesn't work that really needs to be fixed. I was first made aware of this problem when I started encoding videos in MP4 format. There was a couple reasons why I decided. Until then, I was encoding in either WMV or FLV. I would encode in FLV just for convenience, so that the conversion time literally took a matter of seconds, because FLV is the format that YouTube usually uses. At least it did at the time. I don't think that's still the case. But and then I encode, but I wasn't getting the high quality option. So I started encoding in MP4 so I could get the high quality option. And I figured, well, it actually kills two birds with one stone, because MP4 is a pretty standard format that a lot of portable players use as well. So if people want to watch my videos on their iPod or whatever, it doesn't take any conversion to do so. Now, the problem was, it was fine for a little bit, and then there was that system upgrade that messed everything up. Suddenly, my MP4 encoded videos were suffering from the squeezing problem that I just illustrated to you. I didn't know why. So I thought, well, okay, MP4 is obviously screwed up for some reason. I expected it to be a temporary problem that would be quickly remedied. It hasn't been. And I can't use FLV because for some reason I don't get the high quality option with FLV, so I guess the only solution is to go back to using WMV. So since then I've gone back to using WMV, and I have yet to see any evidence that YouTube has fixed this squeezing issue. So until it's fixed, I'm basically stuck using WMV, which I don't mind. The only problem is WMV versus MP4. On my system anyway, MP4 encodes way, way faster than WMV. WMV takes forever. Like a 10-minute video takes like an hour to convert from the original DV-AVI master file to WMV format. And it's just a pain in the ass. So I would love to be able to do MP4 because it's more convenient for everybody. And I understand actually if you go to a site like KeepVid to download YouTube video, you can actually download it in MP4, which is strange. So basically, the YouTube system converts it to FLV and MP4, yet if you upload an MP4, it screws it up. That makes absolutely no sense at all, and there's clearly a major technical glitch there that needs to be happening, or needs to be fixed. Doesn't need to be happening. Now, the reason I'm making such a big deal out of this is because I've been seeing this squeezing issue happen more and more often. If you just take a quick scan of thumbnails of a video, you can usually see where it's happening. Now, if it's a widescreen video, you can see the correct black bars, and you can tell. No problem. But you see videos that are clearly supposed to be full screen with black bars? That's not right. There shouldn't be anything there. It should be nothing but the thumbnail image filling the screen. But you can see at a glance which videos are suffering from that problem. And in my experience, in talking to some of the other YouTube users who have had this issue, they're uploading an MP4. So, as a temporary solution, guys, I strongly suggest you switch to WMV. You should be able to do it pretty easily on a PC, and I know that you can do it on a Mac as well. You can do pretty much anything on either of them these days. If it's an issue to you. But the thing is, it drives me crazy as someone who puts a lot of effort into his, visuals and composition. See, like this is a nicely composed shot. Good old rule of three. You got me here in 1/3, bookshelf in the middle third, doorway in the other third. So that's a correctly composed shot right there. And that's another reason I like to use widescreens, because it allows for more freedom with that. But anyway, so for other people, I've seen a lot of videos that clearly have had a hell of a lot of effort put into them with editing and composing the shots and everything, and the effect, it goes from being a fairly slickly produced video to looking like amateur hour because the frickin' YouTube encoder is screwing up the image. Now come on, this has been going on for at least 2 months. At least 2 months. I cannot believe that at this stage in the game, YouTube is not aware of this problem. It's ridiculous, and it needs to be fixed. Or at the very least, you need to put up some kind of a tutorial or some kind of acknowledgement of the problem that tells people that it exists, that you're aware of it, that you're looking for a solution, or if no solution exists, encode in these formats, because these formats will be processed correctly by YouTube's encoder. It's not that difficult, guys. Come on. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm a little pissed off. Can you tell? Anyway, that's basically the long and the short of it. Couple quick tutorials for you. How to get high quality playback and how to get stereo sound on your videos. Okay, first and foremost, to get stereo sound on your videos, make sure you record it in stereo. You'd be surprised how many people forget that. If it's not in stereo to begin with, nothing you do will make it in stereo later. Well, unless you rip the audio and manually fake the stereo effect in an audio editing program, which can be done and it can be pretty cool, but it's not the same. Anyway, to have stereo sound in your audio, it's very simple. The first thing you need is the high quality playback option. Without the high quality playback option, you will not be able to get stereo sound in your audio. So how do you get the high quality playback option? Okay, let's jump back to that. To get the high quality playback option, it really is as simple as this. Encode your video in high quality. That means use a resolution of about 640 by 480 and encode with a really high video bitrate and a decently high audio bitrate. It doesn't have to be that high for audio because it gets downgraded on YouTube anyway. I use 128 kilobits per second for my YouTube videos, audio. For video, I use a bitrate of 2,000 kilobits per second, which I'm sure is overkill, but I don't like to take any chances. I like to make sure I get that high quality playback. So what will happen is when you upload your video with a really high video bitrate, high resolution, and what have you, the YouTube encoder system will recognize that and make the high quality version available usually about an hour after the standard quality version becomes available. So it's really that simple. And once again, I cannot stress enough, if you want problem-free video, encode in WMV. Now, I'm not a big Microsoft fan to begin with, but in terms of streaming video, WMV just seems to be the most universally compatible out there that I've, at least with YouTube, that I've discovered. And in the end, it converts it to MP4 anyway, so who cares what format you upload it in? The end product will be what you want it to be. So WMV format, 640 by 480 resolution, a minimum video bitrate of 1,000 kilobits per second. Anything below that, and you won't get the option. I used to encode my videos in 768 kilobits per second because it still looks pretty nice at that level, but it wasn't high enough for the system to catch it and offer the high quality option. So I bumped it up. So if you hover around, you know, say 12 to 1500, you should be fine. Of course, the drawback of that is at that resolution and that bitrate, you're getting pretty big files. But fortunately, as long as you keep from rambling too much like me, you should be okay. Now, once you have the high quality option, go to the high quality, actually you don't even have to go to the high quality, just put this extension at the end of your video link, and FMT equals 18. I don't know what it means, I don't know why it works, it just does. Now I will say this, it doesn't work all the time. There's a few of my videos that for whatever reason should have had the option but didn't. You go to that link on those videos and it says, sorry, this video is no longer available. Yet the regular high quality version still plays fine. I don't know, it's very mysterious. So, basic summary, encode in WMV. This will prevent the squeezing problem. It will also prevent audio sync problems. And encode in a high quality bitrate at 640 by 480 resolution, and you should get the high quality playback option within an hour of your standard quality version becoming available. Then, finally, if you want stereo audio, if you've made your video in stereo, add the and FMT equals 18 extension to the end of your video link, and make it easy for people to get to by putting it in the description of your video. And there you go. Like magic, your videos look and sound better than anyone else's on YouTube. Well, unless your video sucks to begin with, but that's a whole other story. So I hope that answers some questions. As I said, I've been getting questions about that all the time, and I thought, why not kill two birds with one stone? I'll give you the secret to high quality video in stereo, and address the squeezing issue and throw in a little rant about it for you. So there you go, my latest rant. Hope you loved it. Okay, we're done. I've already rambled for almost 20 minutes. So see you next time, folks. Keep those high quality videos coming. Hope that answered some of your questions. If you have any questions about aspect ratio, just generally, I recently put a bunch of videos on my favorites list. You can find it on my profile page. I poked around YouTube and found what I feel are some of the best videos produced that have to do with aspect ratio, widescreen versus full screen. I tried to cover the whole spectrum. You'll hear from some famous directors in a lot of those, and you'll see clips from some pretty good movies comparing the widescreen and full screen versions. And then there's some that are just basic tutorials about the different aspect ratios and what they're used for and stuff like that. So check those out if you have any questions about aspect ratio. It should pretty much answer any questions you would ever possibly have about that. Excuse me. And we're done. Okay, so that's it from me to you for now. I'm never going to shorten that, am I? You know, I see other people who are just like, catch you next time, or keep it moving, or whatever. But I have this big frickin' speech. Okay, thanks for watching, and until next time, sayonara.